Alright, welcome back to another episode of Wild Osprey Outdoors. Last episode was a little unique because mostly it'll be fishing and rock climbing and challenges and stuff like that. But so today's video is also going to be a little different. I'm going to be counting down my top 5 biggest fish and top 5 best fishing days of my life. So you can kind of get to know me better for all the fishing videos to come, and let's get right into it. Alright, so number 5, biggest fish of my life, counting down the top 5 here. So number 5 is going to be this catfish that I caught at Lake Lanier, Georgia. And that it didn't really fight that hard until right when it got to the boat, right when it saw that boat, it dove down into the water so hard. That thing did not want to be anywhere near that boat. So and back then I think I was 8 or 9, and so that it almost ripped the pole out of my hands. That was a pull when it reached the boat. Now moving on to number 4. My 4th biggest fish is this redfish that I caught off a dock in Crescent Beach, Florida, in the Intercoastal Waterway. Now this guy, I was only using 10-pound test line for this, and so when I hooked him, he just was pulling drag. So while I was fishing for snapper, I had 2 rods out, one just waiting, and then I was fishing for snapper with my smaller rod. So my friend was out there on the dock with me, and if it weren't for him, my rod would have been gone. So all of a sudden, it just started going zzz, and thanks to him, he grabbed the rod and gave it to me, and I got in this guy, and I couldn't tighten the drag because it was snap. It was only 10-pound test line, as I already said, and so I would just reel a little bit and zzz, reel a little bit, zzz. So that was a really, really crazy fight. Now moving on to number 3. Striper I caught, same fishing trip as the catfish out on Lake Lanier, Georgia. So now that one was really big. That rod was bended so much. That was so much fun to reel that guy in. I don't really have too much to say about him, but that's nice fish there. Now on number 2, this is a king mackerel caught off the coast of St. George Island in the Gulf of Mexico in Florida. This guy he's so pretty. Pulled drag, everything you want to do. King mackerel, I love how they look, and I like mackerel in general, so that was a fun one. Now, number 1. He may not be as long as the rest of them, but boy, he was fat. Now, this is a big amberjack right here. Same fishing trip as the king mackerel. He was big. Okay. He was really, really chunky. So what this guy was doing is we hadn't gotten a bite in probably 2 hours. So we were just sitting there on the boat, just barely holding our rod. Then all of a sudden, bang! I almost dislocated my shoulder. That thing hit like a living freight train. It was crazy how that thing hit. Now I'm definitely going to talk the most about this one because once I start talking, I really can't stop. So this one was so much fun to reel in. Craziest fight of my life, without a doubt. Best fight, biggest fish. There's really nothing more you can ask for about that. So let's go over to our top 5 best fishing days now. All right, let's get started. Now starting off at number 5 with my Uncle Sid. Well, at the time not quite uncle, but not now he is. So this is a little behind because, so this is, I actually caught all these fish in the pictures, even though he's holding some of them, but I caught 3 redfish, and then we both caught a ton of saltwater catfish. In the process of that, my dad actually got spined in the hand, so that wasn't too good, so my mom had to come pick him up to bring him home, and he said it was stinging a ton. But then the second he put his hand in as hot of water as he could stand, the pain automatically went away. So as a kind of a tip for anyone that gets stung by a saltwater catfish. That was a fun day. Now moving on to number 4. Now this was we didn't catch too many fish, but this is if you have 2 fish in one fishing trip that are the 2 biggest of your life, which is this and this, plus my uncle caught another striper, this one, and so yeah, it was a pretty good day. I mean, not too many fish, but I mean, they were big. So yeah, really fun day. Moving on to number 3 now. Now this was just off this dock, same old thing. So my brother and I were out there. I actually learned to throw the cast net that day, so here's a picture of that. And so if it weren't for that cast net, I wouldn't have caught all these fish. We just got all that nice fresh bait, no more frozen stuff, live bait, and for the big rod and everything. So this is the same day as the redfish. So I had my bigger rod out deep with a live mullet on there, while I had chopped up mullet and on a smaller rod for snapper and things like that. And so my brother caught 18 mangrove snapper. We each caught 18 fish apiece. He was all 18 mangrove snapper, and I caught 16 mangrove snapper. That we didn't really get any pictures of those because they're just little small guys. Along with this nice redfish that you saw earlier, and my first gag grouper of my life. So that was a really cool day. Just 18 fish and new species and all kinds of stuff like that. Alright, moving on to number 2. Now this is Crescent Beach, Florida, more like St. Augustine for this fishing trip. So I went out with my grandpa and Davidson on the boat out in the intercoastal, and it was such a crazy day. We caught 15 to 20 redfish per person. It was absolutely insane. We weren't catching that much. Then we got to this spot with a big oyster bed. There were so many. We'd throw it in, within 5 seconds, we'd hook up. Get it off, throw it back in, we'd hook up. Throw it back in, we'd hook up. Then it was just absolutely crazy how fun that was. So, on the picture that I was just showing, it was, each of us, yeah, like I said, probably caught 15 to 20 redfish per person. So here's some of them that we caught. I caught, and then look at the size of the eye on this redfish. Just look at that. And then I got brothered up. Oh my gosh, I got doubled up with my brother on this one, and this one was the biggest fish of the day. Actually, maybe not, but in the top 2. But the one that might have beaten it, I'm not sure, is my grandpa caught this really beautiful flounder here. That was a cool one. And also, my brother caught his first trout of his life, along with a pretty sick hairdo when he got off the boat all windblown. So, moving on to the number 1 best fishing day of my life, St. George Island, Florida, off the coast. You know what's coming. So we caught some really, really nice fish. We got the king mackerel, amberjack. My grandpa caught a bonita, as you can see in the background of this one, and a cobia for my uncle. And my grandma also caught a nice white snapper. So we also caught maybe 5 more, red snapper each. And also, I'm pretty sure my uncle also caught a pilot fish. So, and another big part, at the very beginning, within 30 minutes of starting, I hook up to what the guides thought it was a 9-foot lemon shark that I couldn't reel at all. Just for probably 5 minutes straight, just taking out lines. Snapped the line like that, and it was over. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wild Osprey Outdoors. See you next time.